Hi, this is BB. I mentioned this neighbor next door, what she was saying. She was always saying, um, let it go, let it go. It's gone from you. It's gone from you, let it go. That's her favorite. Now, when I was releasing, there's something called the Sedona method. It's called letting go. Now, letting go doesn't mean you're giving something away. What it means, you're letting go of negative emotions, limiting beliefs that are holding you back from living your full potential, your true self. It holds you back from living life, as it were. So with that being said, when I thought she was being abused, I made, for 5 months, sometimes I would sit, and sometimes I would be awake for 14 hours a day, and I would make so many recordings and send them to her, or release in my house. Because I really believed that she could hear me from where she lived across the way. Stop to think or wonder, to test it. When I found out, because I had a 55, I would turn it up really loud, like put on somebody like Les Brown, put on somebody like Tony Robbins, anybody that I know was a motivational speaker. Because I thought there was something really wrong with her sitting in the dark all the time. So I would turn it on, I would take my garbage out, which I had to go past her house to get to the gate, take it out. But I would come back and stand in proximity with her gate, because my house was in the back. And I wouldn't even hear it. Or I have to go like really, really close to my house to hear a 55-inch TV. And I had it sometimes 70%, 60% up. So that's pretty loud. You could hear if you go to like in between her house and mine, like midway, you could hear the TV on, where you can't make out what they're saying unless you go close to the house. So how she was hearing, I didn't know. Anyway, that being said, why did I go to ask about the stuff that I lost? My parents' IDs are missing. My grandmother's ID, everything she had is missing. Whether my grandfather would just throw that out. It's like almost like the general consensus is like everybody just threw away my stuff and my grandma's stuff. No, they did not. My grandfather would have never thrown that away. That was his wife. Legal wife. They were married for how many years? So I don't understand why it's like everything, and you know the words that they're using? Let it go. Let it go. The same thing that was doing those releasing and giving it to her. Let it go. Now, I don't know what the plan is. While I'm still alive, this bitch would make her fucking move. While I'm still alive, while there's still the breath of life in me, that she would make her move. If she wants to accuse me of something, just hop to it. Please confront me. Do something. Understand, I've never seen her commit a crime. The only crimes they've committed is against me, and it's also freaking abstract, as you all know how this goes. It's all abstract. It's all abstract shit. Nothing concrete. You gotta pick up a little piece here, a little piece there, pieces of a puzzle. I was told this a long time ago. It's like pieces of a puzzle. But someday it will come together. And this is what they're trying to prevent, it coming together. My whole life and my past, relatives, people who have answers for me, it's like a pieces of a puzzle. And her job is to sit on me and make sure that those pieces don't come together. Everybody is angry. As soon as I open my mouth, it's everybody angry, angry, angry. For no reason, they're just angry. just angry. Angry. Why? I don't know. Went to the house that my father had. My stepmother, my father died in 2008. My stepmother died in 2010. And my stepmother, the house was bought. My father sold the business he had downtown. That was in him and my mother's name and my name. Well, I was the natural heir of both of them. He sold the house, and he bought the house. He bought a house in the countryside, in my stepmother's name and his name. He died in 2008. My cousin, which is his sister's daughter, used to take medication for them because she was a pharmacist. She used to fill their prescriptions for both my father and my stepmother. And my father used to ask for me. When my father died, my stepmother used to ask for me, my cousin said, especially when she got sick. And she would tell her that when she died, everything was for me. Now, they never saw anybody else there, right? They never saw anyone else there. But it's okay. My stepmother had a niece. I think she has more than one niece, but she has a niece. And she was pretty fond of her as a child. I know this. So she left that when she died, before she died, she made the girl, or she willed the house, or she made her power of attorney. I don't know what she did. That's okay. When my father died, the house went to her. What happened to my father's bank cards? What happened to my father's birth certificate, death certificate, his ID? What happened to the shares that he and I bought into the bank? From what I've been told, stepmother threw them away. She just threw them out. This was a woman in her sane mind to will this house, a whole house, a house and a property with a business attached, to her niece. She was sane enough to do that, but she was not sane enough to keep papers that she was telling my cousin, these things are belonging to me. Okay. She was sane enough to make a will, get it notarized, get it approved by the high court, whatever steps it's taken, I don't know, just to give it to her niece. But she went on the other side. Suddenly, after she did that, the day after she did that, she went cray-cray and started throwing everything away. At least this is a consensus the people, her nephew wants me to believe. Her nephew wants me to believe this, that this happened afterwards. Okay. I mean, does that make sense to you? Because it makes perfect sense to me. I am not caring about the house. Them and the house can fuck each other. I don't care. To know where my father's papers are. That's my father. When my stepmother died, the family is broken. They have no claims to my father's stuff. Claims to my father's stuff. Not one claim. None. Their aunt died, family is done. That's done. They got a house, they sold a house, that's okay. What happened to my father's papers? Not one piece? You know what he has a bag? He has a bag that's filled with receipts that they spent. Receipts. You know what that means? He's trying to establish that my father spent all the money he had in the bank. A little bit further. We bought shares in a certain bank. I remember leaving the home, going down there, and my father telling me, because my mother was in this country, I will have to sign with him because it has to be in both of our names. Signing for those shares. This was back in 1988 or 89. By now, those shares have skyrocketed. On the computer cannot find any trace of those shares. It's like they've just vanished. If the shares were cashed in, if my dad found a way to cash them in without me, which I don't think he could, where's the records of it? They just disappeared? I don't believe this. But hey, to the people who are hacking, you know, they cover their tracks real well. What's going to happen to these who are hacking me is that they're going to do too much. And that's what's this is what's my mind and logic is telling me. They don't stop. They will do too much, and eventually it will become so apparent that the powers that be will not be able to just let it go or let it bypass them anymore. They're going to have to take notice of it. They're doing too much. Another thing with the hacking, and this is another country we're talking about. We're talking about my father's ID, his name was spelled right. His marriage certificate, his name was spelled right. When they bought the house, the mortgage, everything, the name was spelled right. His everything, his name is spelled right. Except on my birth certificate, it's spelled wrong. These things are to slow everything down and discourage me. There's a million things that happened since I started looking. And this is why she sits here to just discourage me, discourage me, discourage me, discourage me. Like every time I start, I ask somebody to look or to help me find something or get a piece of information. It's all gas. Hear that? All gassing. You heard the click, you heard the cat. You heard the click, you heard that cat. I swear to God, right here. You heard the click. Play it back if you have to. And the cat was, she just started yelling at the time. This is what happens to us. She's got a lot of power. You can't beat a gal like that. Right now, my nose is starting to burn again. This is her showing power. She has power beyond belief. She's got power, 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 power. She is a force to be reckoned with. And all that jazz, too. I'm just saying. You know, I'm giving her props. Nothing to help, you know. What can I say? I'm just trying to be helpful, a good neighbor. But anyway, all of this is happening. Hey, mama, mama. All of this is happening, and everybody is just telling me, let it go, which is exactly what she's telling me, let it go, let it go. This is how I know my situation, there's gang stalkers involved. And what are gang stalkers? People who will take money to mess with other people. They don't have special powers. They don't have horns. They don't have hooves on their feet, or instead of feet. They're normal people like me and you who has no problems putting the hurt on somebody else for cold, hard cash. That's what a gang stalker is. It's a human being like me. If you punch one in the mouth, they're going to hurt. They're not going to multiply or turn into a raven and fly away. No, no. They're going to hurt. Just like me and you, if somebody punches in the mouth, it's going to hurt. So they don't have special powers. That's the first thing. So it's just a person who will take money to mess with another person. That's how this works. So let's not give them some kind of reverential fear. They don't have magic powers. They don't have a connection to some god or goddess somewhere. They have the same connections you and I do. Except we don't do this shit to people. We have something called integrity. We make mistakes. We make mistakes up the wazoo. But we've learned to move past them and correct them and not to make the mistakes again. They relish in making mistakes. That's the difference between us and them. They relish in making mistakes. These people are humans just like you and me. Somehow God is going to balance this out, but we have to be firm in our thoughts. We have to be firm in our thoughts.